Welcome, John. Can I start by asking the name of your company and broadly what it is you do?
Yeah, sure. So the company is called Snoop, and we are a new proposition that's obviously powered by open banking. We launched in April 2021 in the middle of lockdown, and have grown actually really significantly, and really happy with all the awards that we've won. And more recently, we won the Best Innovation of the Year from the British Bankers Award, which, as you may recall, Revolut won that last year. And in short, basically, we are a money-saving, money management, direct-to-consumer proposition that helps people spend, save, and basically live smarter. So
you mentioned company was set up this year. What sort of was the thinking behind it? Are you one of the founders of this business?
Yeah, so sorry, of course, I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Snoop, and we founded the company just over 2.5 years ago. Our overall founder and executive chair is Dame Jane Angadia, and I and 10 other colleagues basically left Virgin Money. Many of us were on the executive team there, and decided that there was an opportunity after we'd sold Virgin Money to the Clydesdale Bank to build a new type of proposition. And essentially we sort of all shared in the belief that with open banking maturing, there is a great opportunity for adding value to consumers and building a proposition that would essentially enable us to deliver profoundly better outcomes for customers. I mean, our purpose is to make everyone better off. And I think a proposition like Snoop is trying to transform and reinvent traditional services that are very, I would say, reactive to the extent that the customer must take all the action and the cognitive load of the customer to try and find better deals, understand their money, is huge on the customer. And really what Snoop is trying to do with the use of open banking technology and new experiences to take all that cognitive load off the customer and actually proactively deliver the customer a range of tailored and personalized actions and recommendations that they can take at the point in which we believe is the right time to take them. And so they can save money. And part of the background as well that sort of really got us focused behind this mission is that, you know, research shows that unfortunately the sort of apathy and complexity of finding better deals means that, you know, it's costing consumers about £12 billion a year by just, you know, what's referred to as the loyalty penalty, right? If you think about 80% of consumers are on at least one bad deal for their home bills, right? But finding those is hard. Knowing when to do them is hard. And even knowing if you're on the right tariff is hard, right? And we basically try and help you with that and a whole range of different things. But in short, what we believed is there was a new way of delivering personalized insights, recommendations, and actions that's 100% based on your actual spending and your behavior, which of course through open banking we can see.
Just like you, I guess, in a personal capacity, we both had those things to deal with ourselves unless we got Snoop helping us. So I can understand so where it came from was a need to do something about that, and presumably it was digital banking and open banking and the opportunities there that gave you that ability to get into the detail and the data.
Yes, I mean, we as a team, I mean, I'm obviously very lucky I have a great team. As a team, the founding team has a lot of financial services experience, and actually really made us think there's a lot of pros and cons of sitting in a bank, right? And then there's a lot of pros of not sitting in a bank and being able to deliver actually a more independent service to people. Yeah. But open banking really is the key enabler to facilitate the services that we offer. Yeah. And no other bank really is doing that. And our content feed of recommendations that we call Snoops is a little bit like an Instagram feed for your money. But it's 100% obviously tailored for you. So every Snoop experience is different, right? Because your needs are different to mine. So you should be looking at your Snoop feed every day and recognize that all the actions that we're saying are not just generic ads, they are specific things that might help you, offers that exist at a particular retailer that you shop at a lot, or related services, because we can see that you shop in this category and actually there's opportunities over here. So it's micro saving actions to larger saving actions across a range of categories. So think about all your household bills we can help you with.
Talking about what I summarized on a piece of paper somewhere was product comparison type approach, which may be something you don't like, but that's where I'm going from. But the service that you provide, talk us about the end user journey a bit more and how open banking does come into that.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, the user basically downloads Snoop. They can actually use Snoop without connecting a bank account, but of course, the more personalized experience is when you connect a bank account. And we connect to 50 different banks at the moment, and hopefully in time more. And I'm sure we'll talk about the future of open banking and some opportunities there shortly. And then Snoop crunches through all your data. It organizes your data in a whole range of different ways. So you can look at your transactions all cleansed in particular categories. You can choose your own categories if you want. So let's call that a money management app that sits over the top of all your banking relationships. On average, our customers are linking about 3 different banks to us. We know that actually one of the unintended consequences of all the neobanks and new entrants into, in particular, the UK market, is that people are multi-banking now. Few people are switching core banking products, but they might have 2 current accounts and 2 credit cards with 4 different banks. So that enables you to have an over-the-top money management experience that you can view your money in a whole range of different ways. Then we have some products that sit around that money management capability. The first one is our bills management function. That allows you, with a great user experience, to bring together all your key household bills or any other recurring bills that you have. And obviously our technology and AI prompts you with all these regular payments, and you can organize them in a way that makes sense to you. And through that, we of course enable you to find better deals. We prompt you at the right time when we think is the right time to do that, and have super simple journeys that you can go and find these better deals. And then secondly is really our content platform, the Snoops, I referred to it before, the Instagram feed for your money. And that really is a content-based platform that, as I said earlier, delivers you on a daily, weekly, monthly, and ongoing basis, a range of actions that you can take across your household bills, across your spending, and other interesting things. That content platform, of course, open banking enables us to target that. And of course, there's technology that links and matches recommendations for you, but it's very, very versatile. So as an example, it acts as a very interesting and different way of engaging with users. So during lockdown, as an example, you know, we were able to ask our customers and talk to them through this sort of, you know, Instagram feed for your money and say, do you have children? Are you interested in recommendations that might help you entertain your children at home, because there's no other things you can do? And then people like or dislike them. And then our machine learning learns that and say, okay, well, this cohort of people is actually interested in that type of content. And interestingly, one great thing that happened during the lockdown is one of our customers, who was a teacher, provided us with actually interesting content that we were able then to share to all the people it was relevant for. So that aspect, for example, one way of thinking about it is reinventing this sort of money saving expert model, where it's a great platform, money saving expert, lots and lots of content, but really we're delivering you the 20% that's relevant to you.
If you don't know about it, you're not going to say that'd be nice to have, and you can't be bombarded with everything, because then you just switch off, because it's like the direct mail that drops through your letterbox. You know, they're hoping that the 1% will pick it up. What you're doing is saying, I don't need that now, because someone has told me they'd be interested in something like that, and I know things that they don't know. And that's exactly where you're, yeah.
Exactly. And the key really for us is as we do now, and as we continue to build out propositions, have become more and more proactive. So already now we flag to you, on a Sunday night, all your upcoming bills that are coming for the rest of the week or the rest of the month. So you're aware of them, and you can take some actions. And if you need to move money around, you can of course you can think about doing that, so you don't fall short when that bill comes in. No banking app gives you that level of sort of proactivity. I mean, in short, think about Snoop as sort of a guardian angel for your money. It's on your side, and all we really want to do is to make everyone better off.
I guess you aren't partnered with any financial institutions directly. You work with all of them as much as you can access. Access the data. But do you see any benefit for financial institutions from the service that you provide?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So obviously we partner to the extent, I wouldn't say it's a partnership in terms of aggregating the information. Of course, for many banks that was mandated. So of course we take banking data in with the customer's consent through the regulated standards of open banking. I think it's a really interesting question, and in short, my perspective on it is for the CMA9 in particular, who were mandated to open up their APIs, for them, of course, and I understand it, being an ex-banker, it was really seen initially as a compliance project. A bank, I'm sure, will tell you they have spent millions of pounds getting ready for open banking, but have yet themselves to see the benefit of it. So of course, that gives opportunities for other smaller organizations, new ideas, fintechs to leverage that. I see little collaboration at the moment with banks, which is quite interesting. I think in time that will have to change. So, and partly the sort of, in short, the point here is that financial services and financial products are actually a commodity now.
Yeah.
So propositions like Snoop, combined with some financial products, actually transform that financial product in not just being a vanilla credit card, but actually being a end-to-end borrowing solution. And I think that's the interesting dynamic here. I see few larger banks taking a big advantage of open banking to provide services direct to consumers. I can see banks using open banking data for underwriting. I can see that use case, and it's a massive and great opportunity. But I've yet to see from a larger bank what is the new innovation that is actually helping people properly manage their money, properly save them, actually on your side and helping you save. So I think it's the early stages of it. I'm sure that will more collaboration, I think, will come. Now, of course, there are open banking. If you think about the open banking market, just very simply, there are people like Snoop that are end-to-end propositions direct to consumers who are following the open banking, open data, Smart Data Rights Act, that whole journey to bring more and more things that you can connect in your life in one place. There's a direct-to-consumer propositions. On the other side, you have the aggregators. So people like, Tink, TrueLess, SaltEdge, Yapily, etc. And then kind of in the middle, I would say there are the single use cases that those can either be built on a literally single use case for a customer, or they are B2B arrangements where I think there is opportunity for banks to collaborate. If I'm really honest, we get approached by all sorts of people because people have spotted that we've built something different. It drives a lot of engagement, drives people into our environment, and offers a whole range of additional services that banks at the moment don't do. We get approached by banks, we get approached by retailers, we get approached actually by a lot of different industries, which is really fascinating from my perspective.
You're obviously live in the UK. How about Europe? What's happening over there?
So yes, we are UK focused at the moment. I think the UK market still has a great deal of opportunity. We have recently closed a Series A and brought in an amazing US investment house. And with them, we are starting to think about how can we bring Snoop into other geographies.
Yeah.
You know, and I think my perspective on the other geographies, firstly, of course, I'm massively excited that lots and lots of other continents and specific countries are following pretty much the UK's model to bring open banking in different countries. They're all at different stages of maturity. Of course, the European market, PSD2 sort of mandated it in like pretty much the UK, although obviously the UK has OBIE. It's a shame Europe doesn't have that. I understand why they don't. I think that will be interesting to see how much open banking penetrates, because there's maybe a lack of a central entity across Europe that does that. I know there are groups of countries that are trying to work together. So Europe is of interest for us. Where I'm also particularly interested in is in other sort of English-speaking countries, as you would expect. So, you know, Canada, US, and Australia, and they're all taking a slightly different stance to it. It's interesting because I think the whole point here is that any customer data source should be open. It should be free for us as consumers to be able to bring that data across into an environment that can actually drive value to us. It's our data.
Yeah.
That's what we believe in, and you should have it, and you should be using propositions that enable you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, what you just saying that the data is ours, and it's for us to control as well, and that's what you're giving.
Exactly. So I think in summary, I think there is, I mean, overall, I think the open banking market has taken, you can see the traction in the UK. You know, OBIE talks about 4 million people using it. It should be 30 million. And there are some challenges, I think, why that might take a little bit of time. But really encouraging as an example that Biden, you know, issued this executive order that the US must look at this because it actually is beneficial. And the more and more this happens, the more we can increase the awareness of open banking.
So in setting up the business as it is now, Snoop, what was the biggest challenge?
I mean, look, I think whenever you're building something that's very innovative, you clearly, to drive investment, you need to convince a lot of people. We are incredibly lucky that we were backed by some really high-profile individuals, and our Series A, as I said, was sort of actually done by one institution only who backed the thought. So you need investors that back, obviously, the management team, as you would expect any startup, but also the concept and the idea and the future opportunity. Yeah. So take that as sort of one thing given. What I think was interesting for us is we launched at the beginning of the pandemic. We actually were planning to launch in the June of that year. We were in a beta mode, but interestingly, many of our users said, why don't you just roll this out?
Get it out there.
Actually, you know, people are very concerned, of course, of the pandemic, but actually the implications on them financially, and something that could actually help them save money and get on top of their money as they were facing either stress or whatever their circumstance was. And that's what we did. I mean, it was quite a sort of heroic effort to try and move our go live date 3 months earlier, but we did it. We obviously, as a business, had to operate all remote. I mean, I've never launched a business with everyone remote, you know, from their sitting rooms or wherever they sit. They sit at home. So I think, you know, there's the normal practical challenges that we faced, and we've learned a lot. We got a lot of things right, thankfully. But I think the main challenge for the industry in this space is awareness. And there's no doubt of the value that open banking can give across to consumers through a range of use cases. but awareness is still low, right? I mean, we've grown fantastically well, over 350,000 downloads in a short space of time. I'm really, really proud of that, but it should be millions.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, I say that passionately because when I look every single day as all the customer reviews, you know, come into our sort of team channels, I mean, people are, you know, we get a lot of, gosh, I never realized I could do this. I've already saved loads of money. This is fantastic. I'm now on top of things. I feel in control. I didn't realize I had this subscription here. I've got rid of it. I didn't realize I was on a terrible deal over here. I got rid of it. I didn't realize there was an offer in this particular retailer. And all these sorts of things, you know, gives me the confidence that we and others have great proposition. So there is a role, I think, that the CMA9 should be doing. Of course, you know, we have tried to lobby the CMA9 to try and have a more coordinated approach to drive the awareness of open banking. One source of the truth of what it actually is. I think things are moving in the right direction, but we're nowhere near that, and we'd love to do that. Of course, we've asked the CMA if they would help with either a campaign or help push this to the CMA now, but of course they haven't got the mandate to do that. And I think, you know, we need to recognize it's actually quite hard for startups or small fintechs to be spending loads of, you know, marketing money just to drive the awareness. Of course, you know, the other side of the argument is, well, of course, if your proposition should be so amazing that everybody should be buying it, right? You know, of course, I understand that, but I think the whole system needs to do a better job at driving that awareness, and every constituent player in that should be doing that.
Anyway, the question is about what's happening in the rest of the world. Maybe I need to turn that around a bit. Or where would you be looking across the world? And you've mentioned the English speaking. Is that in any way that driven by the ability to get the data? In other words, as their versions of open banking grow and get established, that's where it becomes a target market for you. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. So I think, you know, there are ways in which we could launch in the US through different types of aggregators, because they do exist, and we partner with, we don't we haven't built the direct connections into the banks. We use a partner to do that, like many others. It's not really our core business. So there are ways in which we could do that, for example, in the US. Of course, in Europe, there are standards. So that's why Europe is actually very interesting and attractive there. We are in a phase now where we're actually starting to look at what could be the European expansion plan. And I think it's always balanced between, to be honest, is there appetite for that, the customer proposition? Is there awareness and trust of the open banking capability? Does the technology exist? And then what's the size, the size of the market, really, as you would expect us. And as we look across the different geographies and continents, we see there's pockets of opportunity. And I think really, you know, Europe, North America are probably our sort of central areas of current focus. Interestingly, in the UK, the technical side of open banking is not a problem. You know, because it works now, right? It's just, as I said before, all of us in the industry, whether you're directly in it or adjacent to it or have some role in the open banking ecosystem, you know, need to continue to drive the awareness. But in summary, as I said, if there was more of a systemic approach to this, I think it would literally help everyone in it, right?
What's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years in the open banking arena? Where you see that all going?
I mean, I think number one is I'd love to see open banking just fly a bit like, you know, if you think about contactless, when that first came in, it needed that 1 or 2 killer use cases. Of course, the Transport for London one was it for it. So we just need to go through this sort of potential phase of sort of excitement and then make it sort of the revolution, right? So that there's a growth side of it that I'm particularly interested in, and I'm absolutely convinced that it will. There is no doubt that this type of capability adds value to consumers, and in doing that will become a mass market common thing to do. I think the second thing that I'm quite excited about and really passionate to see move forward is what's in scope of open banking being expanded in the UK, but also across geographies. And what I mean by that really is expanded in terms of the financial products that is in scope. So other things like mortgages, other types of savings, wealth, investments, and so on and so forth, right? But then, so imagine from open banking to open finance, but then after that is the other data sources. Why can I not take all my utility data out? Why can I not take all my mobile phone data out? That's what I'm really excited, because when we have all those component parts, then you can drive even more personalization, and value to consumers. So I think that there is, I think obviously because I'm operating in the UK market, I think there's still a huge amount of opportunity in the UK market. But I see Europe already continuing to sort of grow this. I think the problem with Europe is, again, it's countries might be implementing in a slightly different way, and some European countries are very focused on sort of driving innovations. Some are focused on other matters, and I think it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the UK, for example, the sort of fintech market and the startup market, for many, boomed during the pandemic, because certain things just had to change, and they had to change radically. But clearly other countries have managed it in a different way.
We're at the tip of the iceberg, and there's a huge bit still under the water yet to be exposed and used. And for the European side, or wherever else you go, the point you made about awareness is key, because for you to go and say, right, I'm going to go into France or Sweden next week, there's a huge investment for you up front, knowing that there will be still that awareness issue for your particular product. Would that be fair?
I agree. And I think also in Europe, I think when certain countries, certain populations are absolutely, adverse to sharing anything. Others are a lot more open. And I think it's just, there's just a bit more variability. So that's why you would have to think about it as a case by case basis. If you are going direct to consumer, I think where you are a B2B player and you have a technical solution to help you solve a problem, I think you still have the same issue, but you might be able to enter in a particular way. Of course, one thing that we didn't talk about, and just really briefly, open banking, of course, also enables payments, right? And open banking payments. And I think that is something where the capability exists. I think it's even more immature than the core open banking aggregation side, but both we are at the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more that we can do. I'm confident that we can do it. We should be confident that we can do it.
What opportunities do you believe this creates for your company?
I think open banking is one of the biggest innovations we've ever had. And the opportunity for us as a company is really, I can only articulate as the opportunity for the customer. And that is to bring together all the data that is yours, use a proposition like Snoop to really deliver value to you, to help you save, be in control, and live your life and not worry about money, or worry whether you're being ripped off, or worry whether you're on top of that bill or that particular balance on that account. And if we can do that in one single place, on the back of that, then you can build a whole range of other services to actually help people then through particular life stages, right? Be that buying a home, having your first child, and so on and so forth. And I think it's just the foundation gives you that capability to then drive innovation that benefits consumers.
Data you amass as it keeps rolling forward, and like a snowball, is going to get bigger and bigger. you will be in a position to say to a young couple, you're thinking about buying a house. These are the other things you need to be thinking about in the finance front, and that's in those areas, finance as in not just finance banking, but shopping and everything, to make sure you've got a full picture, and we can help you with that. And we can tell you where to go to get what is currently the best deal on this. So am I paraphrasing badly, or was that a fair assumption of how you could see that growing?
No, that's exactly right. And the services that we can offer are wide ranging. I mean, a moving home type of proposition can include finding the right schools, finding the right sort of, community interest groups, or, it doesn't necessarily have to be a financial product. And, everything we do in life, we have to have individual point relationships mainly to try and execute it. Back to my sort of original point, really, all the cognitive load for anything you need to do around your money to execute something in your life is all on the user, right? And what we're trying to do is build something that actually part of an aspect of your life will take care of it and tell you when you need to take some action, but also allow you to come in and look at things when you want to do it, how you want to do it, with the personalization that you want as well.
And have more knowledge than you'd ever find as an individual, because you're looking at a wider base of information coming into you, yeah?
Exactly, and across your accounts. We have every single day, we get customer feedback saying, I did not know that I was paying X for Y. Had no idea. I forgot I'd had that subscription. I forgot that my contracts run out on my mobile phone. Literally every single day.